Now, I'm very excited to be able to introduce our Conservative commentator, Geoff Norcott.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Geoff.
Yeah, week 2.
Week 2.
Week 2. Have we got any Tories in this week? Yeah. 4 people. It's progress.
What are you covering on this week's Bursting the Bubble, Geoff?
Well, this week, Nish, Parliament ended and it brought to a close a period of unprecedented protests, right? But despite all that protest, not much really seemed to change, did it? We had March Against Austerity, but austerity's still happening. We had March Against Brexit, but we're still leaving the EU. We had a women's march, but Gary Lineker still earns more than the Queen, so... Why do you think these marches achieve so little?
Well, change takes time. You know, it's very rare that a protest can affect real change in such a short period of time.
It's Liberals.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's Liberals. The protest crowd, in the main, are middle-class Liberals.
Right.
I mean, you know, lovely people, but not very scary. Have a look at this lot. I don't know if she's angry about Brexit or a lack of stationary options. It's not clear. Have a look at this mob. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of event community support officers were made for, literally. And look at this woman. She doesn't even look cross. She looks like she spotted somebody with free halloumi.
Look, Geoff, why does it matter if the protesters look scary?
Well, because for real change to take place, the government need to look out the window and be scared of what might unfold. But they look at the modern protest crowd and they think, they don't look very scary. You know, 2 squirts of a water cannon, they'll be in Ubers back to Henley-on-Thames. They're not. I mean, they're probably only marching for their Fitbit targets anyway,
okay.
So...
OK, so what do we do about this? Well,
the middle class need to treat protesting like, you know, childcare, plumbing, electrical work, realise they're shit at it and outsource it to working class people.
You want to outsource protesting?
Because, I mean, it's all got so bloody twee, hasn't it? I went to the pay cap demo and they had people there selling jam. Protest jam. I mean, the biggest risk the police faced that day was wasps.
OK. OK, so you give us an example, then, of what you consider to be an effective protest.
OK, well, you look at working class protests, right? 1990, poll tax riots, Thatcher was gone later that year, and the tax was eventually dropped by her successor. And you know why? It's because people coming down from Sheffield to London in a minibus, they're not coming to see you can get the wittiest banner on Newsnight, are they? I mean, if you kettle them outside Debenhams, they're not going to think, oh, I'll nip in and get a Brabantia bin. I mean, these people... You fight that bit harder when you haven't got teeth. That's the...
What I would say in response to that is, I think maybe you're underestimating how motivated middle-class protesters are.
All right, well, then why do the protests always happen on Saturdays? You know, it's like, yeah, I want to overthrow the establishment, but, you know, Phoebe and I are going skiing, and we've already used up all our annual leave, so, you know... They just don't seem that committed to me, mate.
OK,
they don't.
But lefties can bring about change, though, Geoff. I mean, look at Jeremy Corbyn.
Well, I'd rather not, but...
OK, well...
Yeah, do you know what's weird about him is sort of like we sort of overcorrected somehow. I mean, look at this photo of him. I mean, he looks like... He does still get that look, doesn't he, sometimes, like a pensioner at a service station that thinks he's lost his coach party. And then also, he's always talking about renationalising things. I mean, it's a nice idea, Jez, but, you know, it's not going to happen. It's like your dad going, kids, I'm thinking of getting the band back together. No, you're not, Dad, all right? Just go and sit in the shed and wait for death. That's the...
But nevertheless, people are singing his name. I mean, surely that would never happen for a Tory leader.
Probably not, probably not. But the thing is, the song itself, it sounds weird, doesn't it? Oh, Jeremy Corbyn... they just sound so racked by middle-class sort of doubt. It's... I mean, because that song, like that, they haven't got much experience of public chanting, have they? Because that chant, it started off on the football terraces, but they've made it sound like songs of praise. It's fucking weird.
But look, Geoff, people have a right to express themselves.
Yeah, OK, look, all right, fair enough. Maybe middle-class protesters shouldn't outsource all of it to working classes, but maybe they should hire some proper football fans as writers. Because, you know, football chants, they've got an undertone of menace, but they're also very creative, which I think is perfect for protests. Now, I voted Leave, which, of a Liberal crowd, I always want to follow it up by saying, but I'm not a racist, but... I'm also aware that I look like a racist electrician from Billericay. That's, See, that's their racism. You're racist now. You're racist. You know, look, like I say, I voted Leave, but the anti-Brexit chants have been rubbish so far. If it was me, I'd go for something punchier, like, you're on your own, you're on your own, you leave the single market, you're fiscally alone. That's just one example of the sort of thing you could go, oh, you know, Dave Davis, whoa, he went for bilateral, he came back with fuck all. Dave Davis.
Just before we get savaged on Twitter, do you have anything pro-Brexit?
Of course, mate, of course.
Right.
Who ate all the fish? Who ate all our fish? Norway. Turns out Norway.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Norcott!
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.